I used to have this friend that said we, and when she said we, she meant women. We're not meant to work in a traditional sense, meaning manual labor, working outside of the home, doing things that take us outside of our purpose, take us outside of freedom, take us outside of a soft life, so to speak, and doing things that are traditionally designed for the man. Not saying that women are not supposed to work at all. I'm not saying that. It just means that we were called for a softer life, so to speak, a more slower life, not doing things that elevate our nervous system, not having to do things that take us out of our comfort environment, not having to go above and beyond working for someone while we are still in a place of struggle. So basically, doing things that are not designed for the woman, so to speak. And when I say I agree 100%, because I see a lot of comment on a lot of YouTube videos. I watch a lot of YouTube, hence why I'm also on YouTube myself, because I love YouTube. And since watching a lot of YouTube, I've been watching a lot of videos that speak about corporate world, that speak about people not finding work, people who are suffering from unemployment, people who are pursuing other avenues of work, whether it's content creation, whether it's owning a business, whether it's digital marketing, whether it's online selling ebooks, doing various different things, owning businesses, becoming entrepreneurs. I've seen a lot of videos surrounding around other aspects of working that is not a regular traditional 9 to 5. And while watching those videos, I'm reading a lot of comments and responding to a lot of comments and seeing a lot of comments of people who are discouraged, seeing comments of women and people who are struggling in their work environment, struggling finding peace in their work environment, struggling making ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck, making other people rich while they're still struggling, being uncomfortable in their work environment, wanting to leave, wanting to escape, not knowing where to start, not knowing how to get out, not knowing how to get out of the trap of the 9 to 5, hustling, working multiple jobs, not being able to stay home with their families, not being able to do things that they desire to do, whether it's travel, whether it is having a peaceful, slow weekend, things that a lot of women desire but they're not able to do because of this economy. And the more and more comments that I see surrounding this topic, it disheartens me so much and it breaks my heart so much that there are so many people living this exact same life. And that is why I am so passionate about sharing my journey, because I'm also in the same space, sharing the reality of looking for work outside of a 9 to 5, sharing my journey towards pursuing content creation and the opportunities that are available with content creation. And no, that's not the only thing that you can do if you don't want a 9 to 5. There are other things that you can do besides content creation. I'm not saying that you have to go into content creation. There's other things that you can do that is not revolving around a 9 to 5 or a corporate job. There's so many other things that you can get into that will let you have a life of freedom. But it's my personal passion for content creation, and that's why I'm sharing it. But I just wanted to share that real quick. So that is why I'm so passionate about sharing my story and how I got into content creation, why I'm so passionate about it. And let me make sure I'm still recording. I'm on my phone right now, so I have to double check to make sure I'm still recording. And that is why I started my YouTube channel. That is why I am passionate about sharing my story on YouTube. And I have had my fair share of work struggles, 9 to 5 struggles, being unemployed, hopping from job to job, working minimum wage jobs, not being able to find a career, not being able to land a well-paying job, even having 2 degrees, and not being able to secure a corporate job, so to speak, because of just the economy and how hard it is to get a job, how hard it is to get your foot in the door, how hard it is to even land an interview in this day and age, applying to jobs online, and majority of them are scams, not being able to get your foot in the door because the resume tracker basically throws out your application if it doesn't fit every single thing that they're looking for. And just the reality of applying to jobs in 2026 is just a hot mess. I will say it's a hot mess. And it's sad that you can have 2 degrees and have worked so hard at your degree and graduated with honors and still not be able to get a good, well paying job. And that has been my story. And even at 36 years old, I have not had a well paying corporate job. Not that I want to be in corporate, but it's just the reality of so many people. Just because you have the degree, just because you have experience, or just because you have worked hard does not mean that you're going to get a good job. And then you can be hopping from minimum wage to minimum wage jobs for years and years and still not make ends meet, still living paycheck to paycheck and not being able to get out of the cycle. And that is why, after being laid off in January 2025, I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of this rat race. I'm tired of trying to prove myself just to get my foot in the door. I'm tired of spending hours and hours applying to jobs and sending out application after application and getting rejected by jobs that I am qualified for. And so I said, no more of this. I didn't completely stop applying after January of getting laid off. I didn't completely like that 100%, but I definitely, my heart was not in it anymore. And I definitely didn't put the amount of effort that I once did. And just making sure we're still recording. I definitely stopped putting in the amount of effort that I once put into it. And so I started minimizing the amount of applications that I would send out. I was not putting as much effort into it as I once was. I started not caring as much, doing all the research and putting as much time and effort into the applications that I used to do, and just kind of aimlessly sending out applications whenever I would come across something, but not really caring whether or not I would get a response, just because that is how my mind and my attitude had shifted towards the situation after getting rejected so many times. So that is kind of the start of how I got into content creation and how I started taking it more seriously. Is after going through all that and experiencing all that, I decided to really give this a shot and see what it could do for me and see where I could end up if I really liked it intentionally and really gave it my all. And knowing that I have a desire and a passion for content, but actually seeing where it could take me and putting 100% of my time and my energy into this so that it could ultimately become a career for me. And that is pretty much what I've been doing since around March of 2025. So about a year now, I've been intentionally pursuing content creation and creating content on pretty much all platforms and trying to build a career out of this. Not trying, but building a career out of this. And most of my content is surrounded around beauty, hygiene, skincare, sharing a little bit of my faith journey here and there, sharing how I got out of 9 to 5 and how I started pursuing content in the first place, and kind of just encouraging women and encouraging people out there that there's more to life than a 9 to 5, and there is more that you can do to live a free life without having to be stuck behind a computer for 9 hours a day. And that is pretty much how we got here a year later, April 2026. I've been creating content for over a year. It's been a fun journey. It's been a learning curve, I will say, learning the digital space, because I did not come from a digital background. I did not go to school for marketing or journalism or anything. So learning all of that has been a learning curve for me, but it's been fun. It's been an experience. It's been not an uphill. It's been like all sunshine and rainbows the whole entire time. I've gotten discouraged. I've had my bouts of comparison, comparing myself to other creators, comparing myself to creators who have a larger platform. And I've had my bouts of doubt and discouragement. Am I supposed to be doing this? Am I really supposed to be here? And am I in a space that is way too oversaturated? Should I pick another niche? Do I not have well enough speaking skills to be doing this? Do I not have the personality to be doing this? So, yes, I've had all those questions. I've had my bouts of doubt and discouragement and all the things. But ultimately, I continued on and stayed consistent with it because I know that this is a place that God has called me to. And it's a place where I am so passionate about it and I have a huge desire for creating. I love creating so much. I've had a passion for it for years, but I just now am really taking it seriously and getting into it seriously. But I've had a passion for it for years. And I love YouTube. I've had a passion for YouTube for almost 10 years. And it's just, I do not want to let the negative emotions or the negative experiences to stop me from my goals and my dreams. So even though you may have doubts, you may have a bit of discouragement, that should not stop you from the ultimate goal. That should not stop you from getting to the mountaintop. That should not stop you from achieving all that you can achieve and seeing where this can take you. Because if you give up just from a little bit of discouragement, you're not going to be able to see how far you can go if you give it your all and know that you are called to be in this space and not giving up just because you have a negative experience here and there, because it's going to happen. Nothing worth having is going to be a perfect ride. It's going to be a perfect journey. And so that's why I'm here. And yeah, I hope to encourage someone out there. I want to continue being more authentic and sharing more content like this because, like I said, I am building a career out of this. I'm building a business out of this. And ultimately, one day I want to create something that is going to help other women out there. I don't know what it's going to be. Like, I don't know if it's going to be like a physical or if it's going to be like a digital product or if it's going to be a course or an event or a speaking event. I don't know what it's going to be, but I know that there's going to be something greater that comes out of all of this. And I don't know yet how I'm going to get there, but I know that God has a plan for me.